The Halifax real estate market was apparently supposed to crash a long time ago, but it hasn't happened yet, and the current market conditions are extremely difficult for most buyers in the marketplace throughout HRM. However, this market right now is favoring one specific type of buyer, and that is the buyer who's looking to sell their first home and upsize to their forever home. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, just before I get into it, if you're new here, you might be wondering, who am I and why am I making videos about the Halifax real estate market? Well, I'm a realtor and co-owner of a brokerage here in Halifax and surrounding area, and I've sold over 400 homes over the last 10 years. So if you're looking to be educated on the Halifax real estate market, then you're in the right place. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to book a call or a meeting with me to chat about real estate, you can do so anytime in the Calendly link below my description at a time when it's convenient for you. All right, so let's dive right into this, and let's use this as an example. So let's say you were one of the lucky buyers who timed the market perfectly and you bought your first home in, let's say, 2019, which means that this year, if you took a 5-year fixed mortgage term, that your term is up this year in 2024. So first of all, you've enjoyed 5 years of a great interest rate, probably somewhere around low to mid 2%. And that unfortunately is coming to an end very, very quickly here in 2024. When you take a new term, your rate will go up quite a bit from this rate that you had in 2019. Now, second of all, if you bought during this time frame in 2019, then you've obviously loved seeing the headlines of how housing prices are increasing here in Nova Scotia and across HRM. And if you bought a home for the average purchase price in 2019, which would have been right around $320,000 at the time, which, yes, this is incredibly difficult to wrap your head around these days. So $320,000 as an average price point in 2019, nowadays, that would equate to about $565,000, again, just as an average statement throughout the HRM as a whole. So if you bought in 2019, you're sitting there with over $200,000 worth of equity, give or take, depending on what neighborhood you bought in, what price point you bought in, and so on, when you bought your first home back in 2019. Now, with this equity, it's a huge opportunity for you when you're looking to move up to your forever home. And I know this is sort of a difficult thing to wrap your head around, but let's use a real life example because I sold a ton of these homes back in 2017, 18, and 19. Let's look at Governor's Brook in Spryfield. It was a new construction development, a lot of semi-detached properties, and also some detached as well. And at the time, the semi-detached properties were selling for around $280,000. Well, guess what? Nowadays in 2024, those are worth about low to mid 500,000. So again, that's a real life example just to tie this in and give you an example of what this could look like depending on your situation and where you bought in 2019. So this is where the market comes into play, and the market conditions are playing a huge factor in the reason I'm making this video in the first place. So, two main markets in HRM. As a whole, we're in a seller's market, so a lot less listing supply than the demand that we currently have for buyers. But everything under $600,000, I would say, is big time seller's market, meaning quick turnarounds, meaning a lot of competition, meaning a lot of competing offers, meaning less negotiating for buyers, meaning if you own a home in this price range, that is a very hot commodity. So again, everything under $600,000 is definitely in a seller's market. Now, if I look everything above $700,000, for example, this is more of a buyer's market. Homes are sitting on the market longer. There's a lot more supply based on the demand that we have for buyers in this specific price range, meaning homes are going to stay on the market longer. It's going to give you a little bit more negotiating power, and there's a lot more chance that you're not going to be competing with other buyers for that particular listing, meaning you have a lot more negotiating power to get the terms that you want and a better price that works for you. So as a general statement, these homes are not selling for over the asking price as an average across HRM. Again, this is very, very specific because obviously a home in the west end of Halifax, for example, or the south end of Halifax at $800,000 or $900,000 is selling a lot hotter than, say, a home at $700,000 or $800,000 out in Middle Sackville or out in Lower Sackville, just as a general blanket statement for HRM as an example. So my point is this: if you own a property that's around the five or $600,000 mark or lower, then that particular listing will be a very hot listing. And if priced properly and marketed correctly, you're very likely to get a ton of showings on the property, meaning a better chance of competing offers, meaning a better chance of a quick sale, and also driving that price up over the asking price. And then when you turn around on the other end and you're looking to upsize to maybe a bigger home in a better location, a more family oriented neighborhood, better school zones, whatever that might be for you and your family and your needs, that means you're likely going to be in a situation where you're a lot less likely to face competition, more negotiating power to get what you want and a better price on that particular property. Again, there's a ton of variables that are going into this, but this is just a general overall statement for HRM as a whole. Another great aspect to this is the fact that you have a ton of equity in your current home that you bought back in, say, 2019, as this example is showing, because the market has skyrocketed so much over the last few years. So because you have all this equity, let's say you have $200,000+ worth of equity in your home, and then you're buying a new home at, say, the $800,000 mark. Well, if you put $200,000 into it, not only are you avoiding the default insurance, so you're going to have more equity in your property right from the closing day forward, you're also going to have a lot less of a mortgage balance that you're actually paying on. So in that case, if you bought a home for $800,000 and you put 200 grand into it, then you're closing on a mortgage of $600,000, which is a lot less than, say, putting 5% down for a home that's $800,000, paying the default insurance, and then your mortgage balance is way more than it would be in this current situation. Or better yet, maybe you're buying a home that needs some renovations, and this equity could go toward the renovation. So it gives you a lot more flexibility and a lot more power when you're buying your next property, because you have all this equity in there and because you're buying a home that's more in a buyer's market situation than in a market like the one you're selling in, which is more of a seller's market situation. Now, although the market is favoring these upsizing buyers right now, in my opinion, there are still a lot of logistical issues that we're facing. So number one would be, financially speaking, can you carry the new mortgage without selling your current property? Will the bank bridge the loan? Do you need to sell first and then buy, or should you buy first and then sell? And truthfully, as a general blanket statement for HRM, it's impossible to comment on this. Every situation is so different, and there's so many variables that go into this in terms of how to go about this scenario and what kind of thing you could do logistically to make it work for you and your family as smooth as possible without having to move multiple times or put your stuff in storage or anything like that. Obviously, we want to make the process as less stressful as possible. And truthfully, if you bought in 2019 and you're not ready to move yet, that's okay. I'm not saying you have to move. I'm just saying this is a relatively good time to be doing an upsize like this example based on the market conditions. However, timing the market is near impossible. And it's not to say that just because it's a good time to upsize means that you should. It really comes down to you, your family, your financial situation, and what your needs and wants are, and when you're ready to pull that trigger to buy your next home. Only you know the true answer to that, and you shouldn't worry about the market conditions overall if you're looking to make a move like that, especially if you're moving into a forever home situation that you think you're going to be staying in for 15, 20, or 25 years, or maybe even longer. At that rate, if you're staying in a home for 25 years, it's going to be worth a lot more in 25 years than it is today. So I wouldn't necessarily say that just because it's a good time to upsize, you should do it. Every situation is different, and only you know if you're emotionally ready and financially ready to make a move like this. But if you're curious about making a move like this right now in Halifax and you want to chat, don't forget you can book a call with me anytime in my Calendly link below my description at a time when it's convenient for you. And if you're still here watching and you got any value out of this video, all I ask is that you hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future content. And that'll help push this out to more people like you who may be interested in seeing content about Halifax and Nova Scotia and the real estate market. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and have a great day.